welcome back to another episode of On Tap. Today's guests we have on here are a couple of near and dear friends to the podcast here. We had these guys on a year ago, and we were on their podcast multiple years ago. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Longer than that, dude. 2 years.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Dude, we're getting old, guy. You guys and the On the Tap crew were our first ever podcast guests, and then we poached you from On Tap for like a year-ish. And now you're back at your roots, so understandable. But we did poach you for a hot second there.
We're about the middle of April right now. Golf courses, as of last week, were looking like they were going to open up. And then all of a sudden we get hit with more snow, more rain. The Midwest just absolutely dumps on us again. It looks like golf courses, at least around here, are not going to be opening for a long time. So I wanted to have you guys on to, one, get our spirits up a little bit until the golf courses are able to open, but ask you, how do you get ready for the golf season?
If you want us to get your spirits up, we're the wrong guys. We're both pissed.
We were hoping you would get our spirits up.
We want to golf so bad, Cody. So we have a simulator, and it is nothing like we're still going stir crazy. Like we can still golf, we can still swing the clubs, but you just can't match the walking around, the looking for balls. You can't match the trying to punch around a tree. So even with, like, we've played a lot of golf this winter, and we're still have cabin fever for the course. So it's any day now. And actually, I think one of the videos the first video you shot outside was like the last week of March. And here we are now in almost the middle of April, and we still can't golf.
It's a little bit depressing, honestly. This winter has just been crazy. Like, we got like the second highest snowfall in our area that we've ever got on record, and the golf courses are taking a toll. It looks like a lake where we're at, the best 9-hole course in the United States.
Yes, sir.
We've been.
We've played it. Can
we
confirm.
I think there's multiple ways to get ready for the golf season. Obviously, you got the guy who's like tailoring workouts, to build core strength or build those tree trunk calves that you and your dad are rocking. Basically, just to get a couple more yards off the tee box, right? So there's like the hardo golfer who is doing just that. He's strictly on a golf workout routine. He's hitting the simulator X amount of times per week or per month. But like, that's not really who we are. The types of golfers that we interact with and that we tailor to are that, like, they might just be switching from heavy beer to light beer. Trying to like maybe lose a couple of lbs before they get into the golf season, so like they have the excuse to drink more on the course.
Right.
So I think there's multiple ways to go about it. Obviously the latter, with that being switching the beer up, maybe a couple less calories. That it's a little more feasible in the wintertime. But getting swings in isn't. It's like you go to a simulator for $50 to $100 every week. That shit starts to add up. So the latter routine is definitely. That's the sweet spot. That's kind of where a guy wants to be. Because if you can get the drinking down before you hit the course, I mean, how are your buddies even going to be able to keep up?
Well,
absolutely.
A beer outdoors does more to you than a beer indoors.
Absolutely.
So if you're in beer drinking shape right now in the winter, you're wrong. The first time you drink the exact same amount of beers outside, you're in deep shit.
It's that vitamin D. That vitamin D just like increases the buzz you can get on the course.
Exactly.
Yes, especially because we're all so good at golf when we go out the first round with birdie juice will just be flowing.
yeah, naturally.
You get some of that vitamin B hitting your liver, and you're hitting birdies the next thing you know.
I think a big hack is to go 4-man scramble first round of the year, because more birdies are going to be in play and more birdie juice is going to be flowing.
That is one thing that you can start doing right now to get ready for golf season. Start planning your scramble team, because there's nothing. You got to have your A team of 4 guys and don't go for skill. That doesn't matter. You got to have the 4 guys that you mesh with. You got to have all of your vibes guy. You got to have the drinking buddies, and then have a couple backups, because obviously things are going to fall through when you get close to the actual scramble. But have an idea of who your main 4 is for the team this summer.
That's not a bad idea. So obviously you guys have had the privilege to be able to combat this cold weather by traveling to some other nicer areas to go golfing. In the 3 years that you guys have been the Breakfast Ball page, what would you say is some of the funnest courses that you've ever gotten to play?
I've golfed all over the United States at this point, and the most fun I've ever had on the course is here at home. hands down.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Like the scrambles against my dad and his buddies in Frazee,
Those are fun.
playing Grandpa Dave and Brainerd and losing by one still haven't beat the old man. But like I've had so much more fun here with like just my buddies and just my family than like Arizona's fucking cool. Don't get me wrong. But I couldn't tell you the name of every course I've played in Arizona and what happened to each one. But I can tell you how every scramble against my dad and how every round against Grandpa and the scrambles, like I can remember Forest Hills, the one in Detroit Lakes, Cody, that you were in.
Yep.
The very first hole, we were on 11, and everybody hit shitty shots, and then you stuck one 2 feet from the pin. Like I can remember those, like shot by
As
shot.
I always do.
But I can't remember what happened in Myrtle Beach.
Is a good course what makes a fun round, or is it just the fun players that makes a fun round?
Fun players, I would say.
Yeah, I think you could break that. I think you could break that into two questions. I mean, in terms of course wise, we're views guys. What kind of atmosphere are we in? Are we in like the towering pines? Are we in the thick of things? I went on a golf trip in northern Minnesota last year, and I would say, back to your original question, that was my funnest couple of rounds that we were able to play. We had 8 guys. We're all buddies. We went up to northern Minnesota in the fucking trees up in the Iron Range. And when you can get a good group of people on a nice course with good views, that's exactly what we're looking for as a golfer. It's like, hey, now the views doesn't trump all. I would say it's definitely the guys and the vibes. So
if you can get all of the pieces working
Correct.
at the same time, then that's the best, obviously.
Correct.
But I think if it came down to it, like if I was to, someone asked me to play, like let's say Waste Management Open course, like we're playing in Phoenix, TPC Scottsdale, with some randos, or if I could play in Frazee with buddies, I'm picking Frazee. I think
100%.
that's going to be the more fun round.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, we are absolutely blessed to have a good group of friends here in our hometown, but also have the best 9-hole course in the United States. So we get the best of both worlds. You get a great view of 35 on hole 3. That's quite possibly the nicest par 3 in the United States.
Hole,
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's iconic. It's iconic.
It's Amen Corner of Pine City.
If you don't know the course like the back of your hand, there's something wrong, because you can play it twice through for your 18 holes.
Right.
It's like you play a full 18-hole course, you play every hole once. 9-hole course, you play them twice. And God damn it, you better be shooting a good score on that course.
And there's something to like going to your local course and knowing everybody that's playing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's a lot more fun to talk shit to like some guy on like Frazee has a shared tee box, and you always run into somebody on that tee box, and it's someone I know, and then you just heckle them while they're hitting their drives. And that's just another added effect. I think that's fun at the small town courses.
I think another thing that's added to the dynamic of what makes it fun is like at a smaller 9-hole course like this, or it's really tight together. So a lot of holes like run next to each other. So like, if you hit into a certain spot of the next hole, that potentially you get a better lie than if you even play that same
100%.
hole.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a little bit of an advantage there too.
Yeah, sometimes playing the right fairway is the wrong move.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, like you said, you could spray one left, you could spray one right, and then still be up and down for par, up and down for birdie.
Is there a few courses that sticks out to you in your head that you're like, I'm never coming back here again? What's the worst courses you've ever played?
Pine City.
Really?
Pine City 9-hole course.
All right, cut that out. Cut that out.
No, complete joke, Cody. We've had the privilege of playing Pine City, and again, I'll be brutally honest, it's not the nicest course I've played, but we had a really good group of guys, which made it that much better. So again, back to the group of guys things. You have the right people around you, it can make a course go from a 2-star course up to a 4.5-star course.
I got one that I for sure will never, ever go back to. We just played it, and you'll agree 100%. We were in Arizona for Miles' bachelor party. We played a course called Arizona Grand, and we played it for 6.5 fucking hours.
No, 5.5.
5.5 hours. Either way, it was
Still,
way too long.
Yeah.
The course was nice. It was fine. But there was absolutely we're not the hugest pace of play snobs, right? But this was outrageous. There's 2-3 groups at every tee box, and I didn't put sunscreen on once. And the only thing to do when you're waiting that long is drink. So I got way too drunk. I got burnt to fucking crisp, and we sat there for an unholy amount of time.
It was just a long course, or it was super busy?
It was super busy, and there was the marshals who just let people go off. And for how expensive it was, they did not like. Usually, they're pretty hard sticklers on when they let people go, and then like maintaining pace of play. And there was just none of that. And I should have seen it coming because we saw that in the reviews. Like, great course, terrible management.
Now, we fucking struck gold with the people that we got paired up with. So there's 3 solos that joined the 3 groups. The gal that we played with, she was like the former president of the American Tennis Association.
The International Tennis Federation.
The ITF.
And like we Googled her name, and a bunch of news articles show up, and it's like tennis legend Cat Adams, tennis legend Cat Adams. And like just apparently she's one of the greatest women's tennis players of all time.
Yeah, she had finished like second place in, I don't know, 6 different Grand Slam or maybe whatever they call it in tennis. She made like $3 to $4 million in her tennis career. And she was the coolest gal that we possibly could have got.
She's also now like she has her own show on CBS Sports and the Tennis Channel.
Yep.
And she just didn't tell us any of this. She was like just super chill.
That's insane.
She went to the Masters this year. It was, we could not have gotten any luckier. Now, one of the other groups, they just had a random dude who was a good guy to golf with. And then the last group, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Russell Martin.
No.
But he was a catcher for the Blue Jays Dodgers for like 15 years. He was in the MLB. Made tens of millions of dollars playing professional baseball.
Yeah, like a 16-year career.
Yeah, he was their solo. So we're getting like tennis legends. We're getting MLB like vets.
And then just cool guys from Dallas.
A cool guy from Dallas, yeah.
That's wild.
One thing I wanted to get into is playing through people, because for me that is probably one of the most anxiety-stricken things in my life. I am not a good golfer. I'm out there to drink beer, have a good time. How do you guys feel when you get that wave to go through? Like, does it get to you with that tee shot, or how do you handle that?
No, definitely this thing. And we golf all the fucking time, and no matter what, when you play through someone, you're gonna get the butterflies and the nerves. But my best piece of advice: have a joke ready to go for if you do shank it. Because if you shank a ball and you hit them with a hilarious zinger, then they forgot about how bad that shot was, and they like you from here on out.
They just remember.
Yeah, then they're this is a cool guy.
What's a good go-to?
You can take it.
Like if I do it really bad and I don't get it past the women's tees, I'm like, all right, guess I got to drop them and like pretend to start taking my belt off. That one always gets a laugh.
Throws them off too. It's like, are we gonna see this guy's dick right now? Or?
Yeah. It's like, here you go, guys. $5 a piece, please. And then it really all depends where you hit it. Like if you hit it in the wrong fairway, be like, paying for the whole course today, and just chill. It all depends where your shot goes, and then you can come up with a joke.
Yeah, I think age is a big thing too. Like you could be pandering to, some 20, 30-year-olds, or you could be pandering to like some 50, 60-year-olds. It all depends on the age demo. But
the worst people to play through, the ones that make me the most nervous, are like a group of teenagers.
Yeah.
Because they're talking shit. They're going to be talking shit about you.
Those guys are fucking savages. I'd rather shank one in front of a 65-year-old scratch golfer than in front of a bunch of hack 15-year-olds, because I know they're going to say mean things about me.
Okay, imagine having to hit in front of Cody's little brother.
Yeah.
Fucking Darius.
If you guys are golfing in Fargo, I would think the majority of people, like maybe 16 to 30, probably know about breakfast ball. Have you ever had the scenario where, like, you get up there and you feel like the tension, like they expect you to be a good golfer? Like, you have a golf YouTube channel.
I don't think people expect us to be. We've done a very good job at painting the picture of, and I mean, it's honestly the truth of like, hey, we're just like you guys. We want to go out and we want to hit the bev cart 3 to 4 times in a round of 18. We want to like have to call our wives for a ride home after the round, or we want to stretch this thing out 4 to 5 hours so we can hang out with the boys and at the bar at the end of the round.
Right.
So it's like, I think we've done a good job at alleviating some of that pressure. Now, like on the other hand, It's like, okay, you kind of want to hit a good shot too, though.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, these guys are not
Right.
slouches. So it's a weird dynamic that we get into.
Yeah, like Ryan said, we've luckily not painted ourselves as great golfers, so it's kind of a win-win for us, to be honest. If we hit a great shot, they're like, hell yeah, you hit a great shot. If we hit a shitty shot, they're like, that is so on brand. That's great.
And we will shock people at our scramble golf team. Again, we're both double-digit handicaps. We typically play in scrambles with other double-digit handicaps, but we will run house in a 4-man scramble because that's who we are. We have 4 shots. One of these double-digit handicaps is gonna make a good one, and we're hoping to post 10 under or better.
Yeah, that's we never ever have options when we scramble, but we always have one good shot.
Yep.
Sam is a power putter. Sam is, if we're within 20 yards of the green, it doesn't matter what the grass is like, he's putting it.
Which
Really?
means you're the ace.
I'm the dude.
Because we've talked about this on our podcast. There's 4 types of putters in a 4-man scramble. The first guy gives the line. The second guy confirms the line. The third guy should get close to making it, and the fourth guy has to make it. He's your clutch guy.
I'm the closer.
I love that.
That's where I succeed for sure.
Also, it is such a big dick move if you guys have you're like Cody said 20 yards off the green, right? You got 3 guys that hit shitty chips, and then number 4 walks up with a putter and gets it close.
Yeah.
Makes everybody else feel so dumb. It's like, you could have just putted it, guys.
The first time I ever was in a scramble with Sam, I legitimately thought he was fucking with me. We're like 25 yards from the green, and then like maybe another 15 to the pin. And he comes up with a putter. Everyone's hitting like their wedges, and he comes up with a putter. I'm like, what? Are you serious? He's like, yeah, no, I do not chip. And I was like, all right. He gets it probably within 5 feet of the pin.
The old tailor-made roast, man.
Yeah, there's no right way to do it.
After 132 episodes of the Double Bogey Show, you guys have gone through quite the transformation from having nothing to talk about to having shitty guests like On Tap, to doing golf movie reviews, to now narrowing in on more buddies in a golf cart talk. Where do you see the podcast going here in the next year or two?
Yeah, we actually got some pretty cool shit coming on the pipeline. So we signed a club deal with PXG, and so with that club deal means we could get some really cool guests on the podcast. So some potential other big golfers. We kind of want to focus in on the guys on the tour that are more like us, not really the snobby guys on the tour.
And that works out for us perfect because I don't know if you guys saw the Full Swing documentary on Netflix, but Joel Damon is one of the coolest golfers ever, and he's a PXG guy.
We want to start doing the podcast actually on the course. So get out
That's
of
a
the
great
studio.
idea.
I mean, it's gorgeous out. We want to golf, and we just basically talk about the same shit when we're golfing that we do on the podcast. So figuring out a way to shoot it while we're on the course and kind of evolve because, like you said, we've gone from doing our podcast in basically a storage unit with some sound panels up to a studio to now we're doing it in a simulator. So I think that's the next natural step is to go out on the course and actually do what we say we do.
When you're recording and you have the simulator behind you, do you intentionally choose certain courses to be behind you, or do you just whatever's on it?
50-50. So during the Masters, the week before, the week of, the week after, did Amen Corner. So we did 10, 11, 12. And the tricky part is you only see the bottom half of the simulator screen. So when we set it up, I'm doing punch shots, trying to get the ball in a cool spot so the backdrop looks good. And luckily you can hide the score because sometimes it'll take me 15 shots to get the ball where I want it so it looks cool. But then other times, this week, nothing going on that we care about in the golf world, so it's just pick a random course, find a cool spot.
All of what Tyler said is kind of it's cool stuff we have coming down the pipeline, but I think the coolest thing is we're now in a spot to where we get to buy our own golf cart.
That's badass.
Oh my God, dude. To just the fact of having your own golf cart and you see custom golf carts on the course all the time. You're like, Fuck, that was pretty sweet. Or that one, geez, that one's got to be from like the 60s, 70s. But now, we get to buy our own golf cart and we get to do whatever we want for it. So we'll have like the camera mounts and all that kind of shit. I don't have anything to do with that, but I assume Tyler and Jake are gonna have that handled.
We got it. We got the specs drawn up.
Are you going electric or gas?
Gotta go electric.
Yep.
Only audio quality. Otherwise, we'd be gas.
Those electric ones are pretty badass though.
My biggest worry though is that fucker dying mid-round.
And there's nothing worse than a golf cart dying mid-round.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's
it's
like not even the clubhouse's cart, so they're not gonna come get us.
No, God, no.
You need camera mounts, you need a big cooler, and you need spot for your bags. Can you give us a little peek behind the curtain on some of the features that you're going to add in on this thing?
I mean, step number one is we kind of like a big dick pickup. We have to put our names on the side of it for what seat that we sit in.
Are you going truck nuts hanging off the back?
I was just gonna say for Cody.
Truck nuts,
Cody's
yeah.
sake,
Cody would
well,
love truck nuts on there.
Except we'll be way bigger than your truck nuts. Though.
Are you like preparing your cooler on this thing to fit more than 6 beers? Please tell me, because the coolers that they offer at a regular golf course are obviously way too small.
Yes. So what I have envisioned is it's going to be for production first, right? So we got to have room for the camera set up. But if we do it right, we'll be able to operate our soundboard out of Jake's cart. So we don't have to worry. We can use the back basket and put some sort of insulation and cover on it, and we can make that into a cooler. Because I think as long as we have the plug facing out to where the bags are, we'll be able to drain the ice and stuff without having to take it out. And I think that could be pretty sweet.
I'm hoping we can fit at least a 12-pack in there.
Do we have a pour caddy in here?
I don't
Anyway,
think
we
so.
got these things called the pour caddies now. They look like just like a coffee tumbler, but there's a nipple on the top, like the things that bars actually use to put on their bottles, like the metal valve. And then the bottom screws off, and in the bottom is 4 shot glasses.
Yeah.
So it pours. It's just for liquor, but it looks like coffee. So I will be sneaking all of my liquor onto the course this summer for sure.
Yeah, we don't have a liquor license either.
That's
but
awesome.
We'll be sure to be running we'll be running a bar out of that cart.
So you guys are 132 episodes in on the Double Bogey Show. Obviously, there's a lot of life left back in it. Who would be like your dream guest to have on or to do maybe a course review with?
That's a great question, Ryan. Go. I gotta think.
Yeah, no, it's really. I think for me, it like there's obviously some dream guests that like will always stand out, but it's also like goes in phases for me. Like this guy's super. Like I discovered this guy, and I would love to do something with him, or I discover this guy, and I love to do something with him. Right now, for me, I think it'd be Robbie Berger. I think it'd be Bob Does Sports. We had Joey Colcuts from Bob Does Sports on the podcast. He was an awesome dude. And now to get Bob on the channel, whether it's in like a course video or a podcast or whatever, currently that would be an ideal situation.
Yeah. Currently, the golf page that I've been like absolutely obsessed with is Country Club Adjacent, and I know you guys have had him on the podcast.
Yep.
Shortly after I left, and I was like, "No, these guys are hilarious."
Dude, they're a wild.
Oh
crew.
yeah, they're absolutely crazy.
Even just watching them set up the camera for the interview, those guys are exactly how they portray themselves online.
Yeah, I love those guys.
I would have to throw it out to. I would want to golf with. Like I like John. John Daly is not my hero, but he would be one of if not the main guy I would want to golf with.
Yeah.
Just because every clip you see of the dude, something outrageous comes out of his mouth, and he is consuming everything under the sun. But he's so fucking good. He's just a modern mystery, and it doesn't make any sense. And I would just love to just observe. Like, how are you fucking doing this?
How are you alive still?
He's an anomaly.
You know you're going to have a good time if it's with John Daly.
The problem is I would think, like, I'm a crowd drinker, so I just, whatever the vibe is of the group is what I'm going to do. And I think I would be in a pretty shitty situation trying to keep up with that man.
Yeah.
And would be in trouble by hole 3.
Switching gears here, this huge shift on social media to like like short form vertical content. How has that changed the ideas that you guys are coming up with for your page, for your YouTube channel, for all your long form content?
I mean, we've kind of left the long form behind us a little bit. I mean, really the main piece of long form content we're doing these days is the podcast itself.
Right.
And I mean, we do have a couple videos that'll come out this summer that are long forms. But if we start doing the podcast in a cart, essentially our rounds become our long form and our podcast at the same time.
That's a great idea.
But other than that, we're really not going to be doing much. And I think like the shift has gone to short form, and just it's like the internet's like the ocean. You just got to follow the tide. Whatever the internet likes, you got to do. Otherwise, you get swamped by it. So.
Well, I think it's helped out our idea generation too, because we have a lot more short form ideas than we do long forms.
Mm-hmm.
But when long form was the hot topic on the internet, it's like, well, how do we make this short form into a long form video? And sometimes it just didn't work. Sometimes it was being forced. So I think it's way better for idea generation and just being able to rip out short form videos and capturing the audience that way.
Well, yeah, Cody, you were there for some of the struggles. Like, what the fuck are we gonna shoot next?
Right.
And now we got a Rolodex of 50 videos we can do because they only got to be 20 seconds long.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's like the brutal aspect of it that people don't realize from an outside perspective is like you got to make, the same one idea hit for 3 minutes. Like you don't realize how easy it is to lose people's eyes on the video, like obviously with like platforms like YouTube, your channel retention is like the biggest driver for how people see the videos. And if you're not like constantly hitting that dopamine button on everyone watching, it's just not going to do good.
Yep.
It's just not going to do good. So to keep it under a minute, I feel like is so much more doable.
Some of our biggest videos ever, are like the minute-long skit style. So we don't have to abandon like our skits and stuff, but we can do it in a more compact and compelling way. And like you said, hit that dopamine button 5 times in a minute rather than 5 times in 3.
Right.
So you're just hitting it over and over and over and keeping people locked in.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. So now, like, are you guys just done doing like the skit style content altogether?
Not completely. It'll just be the shorter form of it, right? So like think of back to I'm 99% sure you shot it, but that Breaks 90 for the first time video.
I don't remember.
That was a skit, but we kept it in that short. So like something like that.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember like the first one that I was there for with you guys, and this was still back when I first started. Like we were all working on plastic tables in a storage unit, and we shot the getting ready for golf season. And the idea of like what the skit videos were performing at back then is just not even close to what it is now. It's like completely changed multiple times since then. So the reason why I ask is because like cruising through your guys' social medias now, it's like all of the pages that were primarily like the long form video, like the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, those seem to not get near as much traction now as what they did before. So it's like flip-flopped. So now it's like Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Reels. Like that's where all the play is right now. Do you see that changing?
Yep.
Especially because the golf realm of the short form is like a whole different beast from everything else.
Yeah, I see the golf realm, the internet as a whole. Everything is going to change over and over and over again, and God knows what's coming next. But like, think about the rise of the 3-minute skit video. Right before that, it was short videos that were dominating. Like Facebook had no idea, like why would people want to watch a video on our platform for 3 minutes long? And then all of a sudden YouTube kicks up and Facebook's like, well, we like 3-minute videos now because YouTube is dominating and they have long forms. And then TikTok shows up and now everyone wants to be the same as TikTok. So it's always going to change. The more platforms we get, the more demand. People are always going to be craving something new. And it's like just waves of I want short, I want long, I want in between. And it's just got to be staying on your toes and getting ready to adapt for it, which I think puts us in a good spot because we know how to do both.
Right.
We're just going to do the one that the internet wants at the moment.
Absolutely. So now with you guys doing this for almost 3 years now as Breakfast Ball, how do you prevent burnout when you're trying like sometimes those trends that are coming and going may not necessarily be things that you want to do anyways. So how do you prevent yourself from like burning out, but also continue to give these algorithms what it wants?
Yeah, that's the tough, the battle with the algorithm is never ending. It's ways to find, it's tough, but you got to find a way to please both, right? So like posting our podcast content, if you do it the right way, it'll please the algorithm. But if you do it 100% the way the algorithm is, you're a little bit selling out and you're not being yourself.
Right.
So it's a delicate balance. And then the burnout for us, I mean, I would say it's probably the only good thing about not being able to golf all winter long.
Yeah.
Is we're not doing it 24/7, 365. We're doing it 24/7, 175.
Yep.
So it's a nice break, and then we have that itch back every year. So it's almost like a nice reset for us.
Right. Now that makes total sense. So now, obviously, you guys kind of work under the umbrella that is You Betcha. Pages have came and gone. In the history of Breakfast Ball, this is a hard-hitting question here. Who do you think is the best producer you guys have ever had?
Really, Cody?
Jake, put
not
earmuffs on.
Was there 5 or 6 to list?
Well, I know we got to list off everyone that's ever worked at You Betcha because they've all been a producer.
Right.
at one
Yeah, I
point.
suppose.
Cody, you can have it. It's you. You can take it.
You have no idea how much he needed that.
No, we've had some good producers. We've had some good producers that have came and gone. Jake has just like been sticking around the
Dude,
whole
he's
time.
a cockroach.
He just won't go away.
You guys went through a nuclear holocaust, and Jake is still living.
Right, like after you left, that chair became the cursed chair.
Really?
So whoever was our producer, like
Jake was in it, booted. Mitch was in it, booted.
Matt,
was in it, booted. Jake's back in it. Has been sticking around for
some
time.
we had a guy, I don't know if you know Ben. I don't think he was there when you were. Ben was in the chair for literally one podcast and took another job 30 minutes after just one episode in the chair.
All right. Well, shoot. Thanks, guys, for coming on. We really appreciate it. What's your names on all your socials?
It's some iteration of Breakfast Ball. We did a pretty shitty job of securing the same handle across all platforms.
TikTok is at Breakfast Ball. Instagram is at breakfast.balls. Facebook is at breakfastballyb, and so is YouTube.
What's Twitter?
Twitter is at breakfastballyb. So
Yeah, if you want to listen to the pod, that is just Double Bogey Show. So
Yep.
search that. Follow it on Spotify. Follow it on Apple.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
We'll see you this
Thanks for
golf
having us,
season.
dude.
fellas.
Nice to meet you, Sam. Good to see you, Cody. Shoot 'em straight, boys.